They fought over my will while I was still breathing. My own children, carving up my life like it was a pie they could slice before I was even gone. But I rewrote the ending. I gave everything to someone who loved me for me, not for what I could leave behind. My name is Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw, and this is the story of how I made sure my legacy lived on, not in their greedy hands, but in the heart of someone who saw me as more than a paycheck. Thank you for being here, for listening to my truth. It's a heavy one, but it's mine. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, what time it is there. It reminds me I'm not alone, that somewhere out there, someone understands. If my story moves you, if it stirs something in your soul, share yours with me. My email's in the description below. Drop me a line. I read everyone. Now, settle in. Let me take you back to the hospital room where it all began, where I heard my children divide my life while my heart was still beating. It started with a Sunday morning at church, the kind of day where the hymns feel like they're lifting you closer to heaven. I'd been fasting for 2 days, preparing for the women's retreat, skipped breakfast, stood too long during Amazing Grace. The world tilted, and I fell right into Sister Ruth's lap. They rushed me to the ER, hooked me up to monitors, and kept me overnight for observation. Low blood sugar, they said. Nothing serious. I'd be out in a day. But my children, Monica, Raymond, and Sabrina, they acted like I was already halfway to the grave. I was lying in that hospital bed, one arm dangling off the side, pretending to sleep. My ears, though, they were wide open. I heard them outside my room, their voices sharp and casual, like they were planning a garage sale. Monica wanted the bedroom set, said it'd look perfect in her guest room. Raymond asked if I'd named a beneficiary for my investment account, his tone all business, like he was checking off a list. Sabrina, my daughter-in-law, chimed in about my jewelry, saying she had the best taste to handle it. They weren't whispering. That's what stunned me. No shame, no hesitation. Just dividing up my life like I was already gone. I lay there, staring at the ceiling tiles, counting the little perforations to keep my heart from breaking. The sound of Monica's pen tapping her notepad echoed in my ears. She was reading bullet points, like she was running a board meeting. I already asked Realtor Donna for a basic appraisal. She said, the house could go for at least $450 as is. Of course, I'd update the kitchen, knock down that back wall, open it up. Raymond cut in, asking about the stocks, the savings, the car keys. Sabrina wondered if there were spares for the Cadillac. I wanted to scream, to sit up and tell them I was still here, still breathing, still Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw. But I didn't. I just listened, my chest tight, my hands clenched under the thin hospital blanket. This wasn't family. This was a wake without a casket. I'm 75 years old. I raised 3 children, buried my husband 23 years ago, worked 2 jobs most of my life sewing dresses by night, substitute teaching by day, never took a vacation past the county line, saved every dollar like it owed me something, and here were the people I'd poured my life into, seeing me as a burden with a property value. That hurt, not like heartbreak, though. Worse. Like someone carving their initials into your back while you're asleep, hoping the scar stays long after you're gone. I raised Monica to be strong, Raymond to be steady, and I welcomed Sabrina like she was my own. But somewhere along the way, they decided I was a means to an end, a stepping stone to a bigger bank account. I kept my eyes on the ceiling, wondering if God was watching this show, because I sure didn't understand the script. Monica's voice pulled me back. We need to be prepared, she said. like she was talking about a storm rolling in case things go differently. Differently. That's what she called me dying. I wanted to ask where Marcus was. My grandson. 22. A college student with a heart bigger than his father's mouth or his mother's entitlement. Marcus was different. Always had been. When the others forgot my birthday, he left a card in my mailbox, a pressed flower tucked inside, and a note that read, "Thank you for raising my dad," even when he didn't know how to say thank you. When my knee flared up, he brought ice packs without me asking. Last year, when I was in the hospital for pneumonia, he came every night, sat by my bed, and read his textbooks aloud. Didn't need to talk. His presence was enough. He never asked what I planned to do with my money. And that's how I knew he was the one who deserved everything. They didn't know it yet, but I'd already changed my will. Months ago, quietly, after I caught Monica on my laptop, Googling how to get legal authority over an aging parent. She claimed she was helping a friend. I didn't argue. I just smiled, nodded, and called my lawyer the next morning. Monica Reeves, not my daughter. But my friend and attorney has kept my business locked down tighter than my old sewing box. I told her I wanted everyone out of the will. Everyone but one. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice steady but soft. "You don't want to leave them anything," I looked her in the eye. "They've already taken everything they wanted, except my peace. I'm keeping that." We didn't just draft a will. We crafted a legacy, a statement, a way to make sure my name didn't die with me. I had a savings account nobody knew about, tucked away from my sewing gigs and teaching pay. I always told the kids money was tight. They never asked how the fridge stayed full or why I had a new church hat every Easter. I was saving for something I hadn't named yet. Turns out, I was saving for this. Monica Reeves helped me register the Crenshaw Women's Literacy Fund, a foundation to help Black girls and young mothers learn to read, pass their GED, and build confidence. It was a dream I'd carried since my sister Josie dropped out at 16, her eyes dull with shame. I put everything into it, my house, my stocks, my savings, my car. And I named Marcus the sole trustee. I didn't tell him. I wanted him to keep loving me the way he always did, without expecting a reward. That's what made it pure. Meanwhile, my children were circling like vultures. Monica brought a dementia screening worksheet one day, asked if she could test me. I told her to test her own common sense. Sabrina offered to reorganize my closet, then asked for the house keys. Raymond told the nurse he was next of kin and demanded my medical file. Nobody asked what I wanted. Nobody brought pie. Nobody held my hand when the meds made me dizzy. Nobody but Marcus. He came that Friday with a lemon pie he'd baked himself. The crust was hard as a brick, but I ate every bite, savoring the love baked into it. When he offered me the last slice, I looked at him and thought, "You have no idea what's coming, and that's why you deserve it." Monica Reeves never flinched when I told her I was cutting my children out. She just leaned back in her chair and asked, "What do you want to do with everything?" I told her I didn't want my house turned into a rental, my savings spent on cruises, my quilts sold at garage sales, or my sewing machine listed as vintage online. I wanted everything I'd built to outlive me, to fix what this family had broken. I told her about the Crenshaw Women's Literacy Fund, how it wasn't just about reading, but about dignity, about giving girls who'd been dismissed a second chance. I told her Marcus would be the trustee. No board, no committee, just him. If anyone deserved to build something real, it was the one who never asked for anything but my time. We filed everything that month. Monica submitted the nonprofit registration, updated the deed, restructured my accounts. Every dollar, the house, the car, the stock account, the safe deposit box, all of it went to the foundation. Marcus wouldn't inherit it. He'd control it. There's a difference. He couldn't use it for himself. He could only use it to give, teach, uplift, preserve. He didn't know yet. But when the time came, he'd understand. My children, though, they got pushier. Monica brought up estate clarity over dinner, like it was a casual topic. Raymond mentioned survivor benefits, reading off a mental checklist. Sabrina dropped hints about how messy probate court could be. I nodded, smiled. Let them think they were in control. Let them build castles in the sand. Comfortable people get sloppy, and I was counting on that. I overheard Sabrina one morning, on the phone in the hallway, talking to her sister. We're just trying to get through the next few weeks, she said. Once she's settled, the rest is just paperwork. Settled. That's what she called my death, like I was a debt to be paid off. I wrote it down in a little notebook by my bed. I didn't trust my memory anymore, but I trusted my pen. That page filled up fast. Monica asked the nurse to fax a DNR form. Raymond Googled how to claim life insurance early. Sabrina mentioned hospice options at lunch. I kept it all. Every word. Every betrayal. Monica Reeves told me to write it down, just in case. Marcus kept showing up, quiet as ever, thoughtful as always. He brought a plant one day, a little green thing in a clay pot. They say talking to plants helps them grow. He said, "Want me to leave it here so it has someone to talk to?" I said yes. We named it Ruth, after Sister Ruth from church. He didn't stay long that day, had an exam to study for, but before he left, he kissed my forehead and said, "Don't let them stress you. Grandma, you're sharper than they think." That boy saw everything and said nothing. He didn't come with folders or questions about my will. He didn't scan the room like he was pricing my furniture. He just sat by my bed and read. That's love. Real love. Silent, steady. Not loud like entitlement. It doesn't take up space. It fills it. A few nights later, I heard Monica and Raymond arguing downstairs. They thought I was asleep? Monica said, "If she dies without clarity, we'll have to fight in court." You know that, right? Raymond snapped. I thought she updated it. Didn't you say she was going to name us? Monica hissed. She's been dragging her feet. I don't know what she's waiting for. Then she said it. The word that made my hands clench the blanket. We need to push it gently but firmly. If she's slipping, we can make a case for guardianship. Guardianship. Not love, not care, but control. Legal power to override me while I was still breathing. I told Monica Reeves everything the next day. She added a clause to the trust if anyone contested the will or claimed I was coerced. They'd be disqualified from receiving a cent, even through lawsuits. It was airtight. I signed it with my full name, Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw, in clear ink, in front of 2 witnesses. That Sunday. Monica, my daughter? Not the lawyer, brought a folder labeled Living Directive. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. It's just to make things easier for all of us, she said, in case you can't speak for yourself. I opened it, a list of boxes to check life support, resuscitation, organ donation, comfort-only care. At the bottom, a blank space for a proxy, someone to speak for me. She'd already filled in her own name. She wanted me to sign it that afternoon. I closed the folder, handed it back, and said, "I'll think on it." She smiled again, said, "Of course, no pressure." But I saw her hand tighten on the folder's spine. That night, I called Marcus, told him to come by the next day. Bring an appetite, I said. I didn't tell him why. He showed up with another lemon pie, crust still too thick. He said it was perfect anyway. We talked for hours about school, his dreams, the nonprofit ideas he was researching. He had no idea the foundation he'd one day run already had his name on it. He looked at me and asked, "Grandma, you ever think about how you want to be remembered?" I stared at him for a long time. "Not really," I said. "I'm too busy remembering who I am now." It happened on a Wednesday. I'd just come back from a routine scan, tired but alert. The nurse wheeled me into my room, and the curtains weren't fully drawn. I heard voices in the hallway. At first, I thought it was nurses changing shifts, patients talking too loud. Then I heard my name, clear as day. "If Evelyn doesn't sign soon, we'll have to make decisions without her input." Monica's voice, clipped, professional, like she was running a business meeting. Raymond said, "You said she was getting worse. If that's true, we could use it in court." Sabrina chimed in. "The neighbor said she's been confused lately." "That's witness testimony, right?" Raymond laughed. "At the very least, it builds the case. We just need to act fast before she starts giving things away." Giving things away, like I was a sack of groceries, a broken lamp, a pile of old shoes. Not once did they say Mom. Not once did they say my name, like it meant more than paperwork. My heart thundered, but my hand stayed still on the blanket. Monica kept going. "Once we file for temporary guardianship, we can freeze the accounts, sort out the property cleanly." Sabrina asked. "What about the safe deposit box? Does she even remember what's in there?" Raymond replied. "We'll take her. Have her open it, say it's for insurance verification, then hold on to the key." I nearly choked on my breath. These were my children, plotting to control my body, my money, my name, while I was still alive, still lucid, still in the next room. They left before I could say anything. I didn't want to. What was there to say? That I heard them? That I was hurt? They knew what they were doing. They just didn't think I was sharp enough to catch it. That burned worst of all. Marcus showed up that afternoon. No warning. Just a smile and a bag of pastries from the campus cafe. "Thought you might want something sweet," he said. He opened the bag, pulled out a lemon tart, and handed it to me with care. Not pity. I didn't say much at first, just watched him. Then I asked, "Do you think I'm losing it?" He frowned. What I repeated, "Do you think I'm confused?" "Not myself." He shook his head. "No. You're tired because they keep swarming you? You're not confused. You're surrounded by people who want to make you think you are." I swallowed hard. That boy saw through everything. He didn't press me, didn't ask why I looked shaken. Just handed me the tart and said, "You're still the sharpest person in the room." They're just mad they're not holding the pen. The next morning, I called Monica Reeves. I told her everything, every word, every detail. I sent her the page from my notebook. She was quiet for a moment, then said, "We can reinforce the will. Add language that explicitly blocks anyone who contests the terms from receiving assent." I told her to do it. I also told her I wanted to write a statement, something personal to be read aloud when the will was opened. "Take your time," she said. "Write it how you want it remembered." So I did. That night, in bed, with moonlight slipping through the blinds, I wrote every word slowly, carefully, without anger. I didn't want it to sound like revenge. I wanted it to sound like truth. Marcus came again on Friday, bringing a pot of soup. "I didn't season it right," he admitted, "but it's warm." I ate it anyway. He told me about a girl in his class struggling with literacy, how he'd been helping her after lectures. I smiled, thinking, this is what the foundation's for. He didn't know he was already doing the work. I told him he should start something one day, a place for young women to study, take exams, rebuild their paths. He shrugged. That'd be cool, but I wouldn't know where to start. I almost laughed. He was already the one I'd started it for. Later that evening, Monica, my daughter, stopped by. She brought sugar-free cookies I didn't ask for and sat at the edge of my bed like I was in hospice. She talked at me. Raymond's been looking at assisted living options, she said. Not because you're not doing well, but just to be safe. I said nothing. She went on. You've been through a lot. We just want what's best. I asked what she thought was best. She hesitated. Something manageable, structured, where you won't worry about stairs or bills or appointments. I nodded. And would I have a say in this? Her face twitched. Of course, but decisions can get cloudy when things accelerate. Accelerate. That word. I told her I needed to rest. She left without arguing. The next morning, I told Monica Reeves to schedule the official will signing. I didn't want to wait. I'd seen enough. My children were building their future on my grave, and I was still here, still holding the pen. I signed the will that Thursday. Monica Reeves brought the packet to my house, laid it out on the kitchen table, every clause, every signature line, every witness form in place. I made her read it aloud, slowly. Not because I didn't trust her, but because I wanted to feel every word lock into place. When she got to the part naming Marcus as trustee of the Crenshaw Women's Literacy Fund, I closed my eyes and pictured his face, his trembling hands when he handed me that overcooked pie, the way he never asked what he'd get when I was gone. I opened my eyes, picked up the pen, and signed my full name, Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw. The air felt lighter when I finished. The next day, they came. Monica first, in a navy blazer and pearls, clutching a clipboard like she was heading to a bank meeting. Raymond. 30 minutes later, in a pressed shirt and loafers, Sabrina last, with a store-bought cheesecake and a forced smile. We thought we'd have a family meeting, Monica said, to go over care options, long-term. I told them to sit. I poured tea, let them settle in, thinking they were in control. Monica pulled out a folder labeled Transition Plan. Raymond had a spreadsheet with property value estimates. Sabrina had tabs open on her phone for assisted living facilities. I listened, didn't interrupt. Monica cleared her throat. Mama, we think it's time you consider a more stable situation, something safer, less responsibility. You've earned rest, Raymond added. We're happy to handle the financial logistics. All you have to do is agree. Sabrina smiled. This isn't about control. This is about love. I took a long sip of tea, looked at each of them, and said, Thank you for your thoughts, but everything's already handled. Monica blinked. What do you mean? I repeated. Handled. The house, the accounts, my care, all of it. Raymond leaned forward. Wait, did you name someone who I looked at him? Yes, I did. And it's not you. Sabrina's smile vanished. Monica's eyes narrowed. Mama? What exactly did you do? I stood up, slow and steady. You'll find out when the lawyer calls. Raymond scoffed. You made a mistake. I smiled. No, I made a choice. They left quietly. Monica forgot her clipboard. Sabrina left the cheesecake. Raymond didn't say goodbye. That evening, Marcus stopped by with groceries, canned soup, bread, tea. He asked how I was, and I said, Better now. We sat on the porch, watched the sun dip behind the trees. I asked what he wanted to do after college. I don't know yet, he said. I just want to help people. I looked at him. You're already doing that. He laughed. By bringing you soup, I didn't answer. Just patted his hand. The next morning, Monica Reeves called. The will was executed, filed. The foundation was active. Marcus was officially the trustee. It's done, she said. You're protected. I thanked her. She paused. Your daughter called my office. She sounded upset. I smiled. Let her be. She's been building a story where I don't exist. It's time she finds out I wrote a different ending. 3 days passed before they reached out. Raymond texted, We need to talk. There's still time to reverse things if you're being influenced. I didn't reply. Sabrina left a voicemail. No apology, just confusion. I thought we were doing the right thing. If we came off pushy, that wasn't the intention. Monica's message came last. We have no idea what you've done, but it won't hold. Not legally. If Marcus or someone else coerced you, I deleted it before she finished. I wasn't angry. Not bitter. I was clear. Marcus didn't know yet. I hadn't told him. I wanted the moment to come naturally, for the gratitude and understanding to settle in. I'd written him a letter, 10 pages. My story, my reasons, the betrayal, the hope. I left it sealed in Monica Reeves's office, to be read with the will. Some truths don't need to be spoken. They just need to land when they're meant to. That evening, I baked again. The crust turned out right this time. Marcus came over, took a bite, and said, Grandma, this might be your best one yet. I looked at him. Good, because everything after this is yours. He smiled, not knowing what I meant. I didn't explain. Not yet. The will reading was the following week, in Monica Reeves's office. I asked her to call them personally, to make sure they showed up, to hear it from someone who wouldn't flinch when they got loud. Monica arrived in a stiff black suit, gold buttons gleaming like a TV lawyer. Raymond wore gray slacks, the ones he saved for church funerals. Sabrina came in a muted floral dress, eyes already moist, like she was ready to cry for an audience. Marcus showed up last, in jeans and a button-up, holding a notebook and pen, quiet as always. I'd only told him, You should be there. So he came. Monica Reeves sat at the head of the table. Calm. No small talk. We're here to review the last will and testament of Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw, she said, executed and witnessed under full legal compliance. This reading is being recorded and notarized. Any objections? No one spoke. They thought they were about to cash in. She began. To my daughter Monica, my son Raymond, and my daughter-in-law Sabrina, I leave you each the memory of the choices you made while I was alive. May they remind you what real value looks like. Sabrina gasped. Monica's mouth fell open. Raymond blinked, confused. Monica Reeves turned the page. I hereby place all financial accounts, investment portfolios, safe deposit contents, and all personal property into the Crenshaw Women's Literacy Fund, a foundation created in my name to support the education and advancement of Black women and girls who have been denied opportunity. Sabrina's hand shot up. Excuse me? What does that mean? What's left for the family? Monica Reeves said, Let me finish. The home at 132 Larks Lane is deeded to the foundation as its headquarters and tutoring site. The property may not be sold, rented, or transferred outside the fund's mission. Monica gripped the table. That's my childhood home, she said. Raymond muttered. This is a joke. This can't be real. Monica Reeves turned to the final page. The Crenshaw Women's Literacy Fund shall be directed by one trustee, Marcus Elijah Crenshaw. He shall have sole authority over fund disbursements, programming, staffing, and property management. This designation is final and not subject to legal challenge under Clause 7b. Any individual who contests this decision shall forfeit all residual claim to the estate or foundation assets. Silence. Dead, humming silence. Then Monica spoke. She was manipulated. She wasn't in her right mind. Sabrina chimed in, "This is elder abuse. That boy must have gotten to her." Raymond crossed his arms. "I want proof. Video? Handwriting? Something." Monica Reeves opened a sealed envelope. She wrote a letter to be read aloud after the will. She took a breath and began. "To my children, Monica, Raymond, and Sabrina. I heard you in the hallway. I heard you around my bed. I saw the forms you brought, the way you looked at my things like prizes in a raffle. And I saw who didn't. I saw who came to sit quietly, who brought pie and soup and crossword puzzles instead of bank statements. I saw who never asked what they were getting, only what I needed. To the three of you, I leave no material gifts. I tried to give you everything that mattered while I was alive. You refused it. You mocked it. You turned love into a strategy, and I won't reward that. To Marcus, you never asked for anything, and that's why you're receiving everything that matters. Not to keep, to grow. You've always had your grandfather's heart. I hope this helps you carry his name forward with the same quiet strength. Signed with clarity and no regret. Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw." The room sat still. Marcus's eyes were glassy, but his face held steady. Monica exploded. "We're not letting this stand." She was not mentally sound. Monica Reeves cut her off. Medical evaluations were done. Witnesses signed. If you file a challenge, Clause 7b activates. You won't even be allowed to mention her name in a financial claim. Raymond stood. "She was our mother," Sabrina added. "She owed us better than this?" Monica Reeves folded the letter. "She gave you exactly what you gave her. Nothing." Marcus stood, nodded once, and left the room. They didn't follow. They couldn't. Marcus didn't come by for a few days. I didn't blame him. The weight of it, the meaning, the responsibility was settling in, not the money. He wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about being trusted with something bigger than himself. I'd felt that way when I became a mother. You don't ask for it, but when it's in your hands, you either rise or run. Marcus wasn't the running type. When he showed up, it was quiet. No knocking, just the front door creaking and his voice calling, "Grandma." I was at the kitchen table, a cup of tea in hand, an old gospel record playing low. He stepped in, nervous, not scared, but reverent, like he'd been holding his breath since the lawyer's office. He sat across from me. No pie, no soup, just silence thick with questions. "Why me?" he asked. I looked at his hands, folded on the table, long fingers like his grandfather's, never pointing blame, only holding steady, "Because you never asked for anything." I said, "You just showed up." He blinked. "But I didn't do anything special." "You didn't have to." I said, "You loved me while I was still breathing." They were waiting for the last breath. He lowered his head. "I'm not ready to run a foundation." I reached across, placed my hand over his. "You're not ready because you care. That's how I know you'll do it right." His mouth shook, but he didn't cry. He nodded, like a boy whose life had just changed. That night, I walked through the house, touching the walls, the photo frames, the doilies under the lamp. Small things I'd straightened every morning without thinking. Now they held memory, not dust. I realized this house was never mine to keep. It was mine to give, and I'd given it to the only soul who'd sat inside it without claiming something. The Crenshaw Women's Literacy Fund opened its first program that fall. GED classes in the old church basement. Marcus hired 2 part-time tutors, wrote a grant application for laptops. My living room, the one Monica wanted to gut, became a study center. He moved the coffee table, set up a reading nook and whiteboard, and hung a hand-painted sign over the door, Evelyn's room. I didn't ask for that. He just did it. Word spread. Local women stopped by with questions, donations, stories. An 18-year-old mother of 2 told Marcus she hadn't read aloud since 7th grade. He sat with her every afternoon. She passed her exam by winter. A woman, nearly 60, whispered to me after class, "I haven't signed my name without help in a decade. But I'm learning again. Your grandson said it's never too late." I smiled, not because of what they said, but because I knew what love planted would grow. My children went quiet. No calls, no visits. Monica sent one email to Monica Reeves, demanding a review. She was reminded that contesting the will would disqualify her. She didn't respond. Raymond was seen at the bank, asking about frozen accounts. Sabrina left a voicemail I never returned. They faded, like people do when the spotlight's gone. When the money dries up, so does the concern. I didn't miss them. I missed what I thought they were, what they could have been. One afternoon, Marcus came by while I was folding laundry. He held a brown envelope, nervous. "There's a donor who wants to match our next round of funds," he said, "but they want to meet the founder." I smiled. "Tell them I'll see them Wednesday." He laughed. "You're not done yet, are you?" I looked at him. "No, and neither are you." We walked to the community center that evening for the open house. He helped me down the steps. People clapped when I came in, though I didn't ask for it. Banners, books, photos of the first class filled the room. Someone handed me a mic. I didn't prepare a speech. I just said, "I gave what I had because what I had was love. And this is what love looks like when it keeps going." The room was silent, save for creaking chairs and the hum of lights. I saw someone in the back wipe their eyes. Marcus stood beside me, tall and still, like his grandfather used to when I spoke in church. Not proud, just present. He didn't need the spotlight. He was the work behind the curtain. Afterward, a stranger with soft eyes and a notepad asked if I regretted cutting my children out. I looked at her and said, "No." I didn't flinch. Didn't sigh. I said it with the clarity I signed the will, because they fought over my will while I was still alive, and I gave it to someone who loved me while I still was. This story isn't just mine. It's for anyone who's been overlooked, underestimated, or betrayed by the people they trusted most. It's for anyone who's ever had to rewrite their ending to protect their peace. If this resonates with you, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next story. And leave a comment, tell me where you're watching from, what this made you feel, or share your own story. Your voice matters. Let's keep this conversation going. I'm Evelyn Geneva Crenshaw, and I'm still here, still breathing, still writing my truth. Thank you for listening.